In today's video, I want to share with you some empowering tips for highly sensitive people. Now, these are the tips that I have come to rely on myself as I've navigated my life and my journey as a highly sensitive person. So I haven't made a video on high sensitivity for quite a while, and I really wanted to make this one for you because I think that the things that I want to share with you are really, really helpful if you are a highly sensitive person. My biggest challenge that I had when I first discovered I was highly sensitive, I found that in the beginning, at least, I used to filter my whole life and all of my experiences through this lens of being highly sensitive. And even though I believe that it's very important to know yourself as a highly sensitive person, that's not the only thing that defines you. And this is something that I see time and again, where when we are sensitive, we kind of interpret everything in our lives through that filter. And I think that that can be very limiting. So I want to share with you my empowering tips on how you can step into your full power as a highly sensitive person. Now, the first tip is to understand your triggers. You'll know by now, if you know that you're a highly sensitive person, you'll know by now that there are certain things that trigger you. Right? There are certain things that seem to amplify your sensitivity. And so it's very important for you to embark on call it a journey of self-awareness where you get to know yourself, you get to understand what are the things that trigger you. Now, you can really look at the triggering aspects in two parts. We have internal things that trigger us and external things that trigger us. As sensitive people, we are more susceptible to things in our environment, to being hungry, to being cold, to being exposed to loud noises, to being exposed to bright lights. But not everyone has got the same level of resilience when it comes to this, all right? So some people can handle a lot more than others, and that's why it's important for you to kind of learn what are your triggers, how much of something can you stand before it begins to affect your nervous system, because that's really what high sensitivity is all about. We have a very sensitive nervous system. So if you can begin to understand what are those things in your environment, in your external environment, that causes your nervous system to become overstimulated, you can begin to navigate that. You can begin to manage that better because it's your responsibility at the end of the day. It's your responsibility to take the best care of yourself that you can. And knowing what your triggers are and then accommodating for them in your life as best as you can is part of that responsibility. The second tip is to take care of your emotional and your mental health. Okay, so this ties in again with being knowledgeable or being aware of what our triggers are. And all people, no matter if you are highly sensitive or not, we all have emotional and mental triggers, right? But it seems that for sensitive people, the impact of these triggers are a lot more intense, and we feel them a lot quicker than what non-sensitive people might do, for example. So it can happen that our resilience and our bounce back time is a lot less than people who aren't as sensitive, whose nervous systems aren't as sensitive. And that's why I believe it is so important for us as sensitive people to do the inner healing work. I think that a big thing that can contribute to us struggling with our emotional and our mental health is resistance against accepting who we are. Okay, we don't want to accept our sensitivity. We fight against it. We think that it's a curse or that it is something that's a bother in our lives, and we wish it wasn't so. But the truth is, your sensitivity is a beautiful gift when you begin to honor that and when you begin to live your life allowing for that to be the way that it is. And then the final tip that I have to share with you is to be discerning with the information that you take on. we live in an age where there is so much information available on every topic under the sun. But not all of this information is necessarily the truth for you. So really be discerning with all of the information that you take on, even like the information that I share with you, the things that I tell you on my channel, is don't just take my word for it, all right? Always listen with a critical ear and see, does this really apply in my life? And does this speak true to who I am and to who I want to be? One of the things I specifically want to talk about are some of the Facebook groups that are out there. Now, there are many, many Facebook groups that are wonderful, wonderful communities for highly sensitive people, and they really provide support and they can really help you on your journey. But there are also those groups where the vibe is very much, who is me? And in my mind, I've been in some of these groups and I've since left them. They create a separation between everyone else and highly sensitive people, and there's almost an expectation that everyone else should treat us in a different way because we are sensitive. They should accommodate our sensitivity in the way that they treat us. And I don't agree with that, because I believe that it's our responsibility to accommodate our sensitivity. It's up to us to make sure that we live our lives and we make the choices in our lives that honor us. It's no one else's job to take care of our sensitivity. Now let me know in the comments which of these tips resonated the most with you, and perhaps which is the one that you are going to start using first because there's not been enough of that in your life up until now. The bottom line that I want to leave you with is, as a highly sensitive person, your first priority is to take care of yourself. Don't wait for other people to do that. Don't wait for other people to change who they are to accommodate your needs. It's your responsibility to make sure that you honor your sensitive nature. Know what are those things that trigger you. Take care of your emotional and your mental health. It really is in your power to live as your most empowered version.